NASCAR is heading west and we're driving head-on into the Valley of the Sun. But this weekend has a much different feel than most Phoenix Raceway weekends. That's because we're about to do the Double Desert. Welcome into the fastest half hour in all of sports. This is Around the Track. Casey Funderburg with you as we get ready for a rare double in the desert. Not only are we getting ready for NASCAR and all its high-octane action, but we're getting IndyCar on the same racetrack. Don't worry, they're not going to be going at the same time or anything like that, but it is creating a little bit of chaos. And speaking of chaos, we've got two guys who have mastered handling it. Your Daytona 500 champion, Tyler Reddick, is in Garage Confidential today. We'll speak with him shortly. Plus, a NASCAR pit crew legend is analyzing it all. Rocco Williams is here. And after drafting tracks and a road course, we're finally getting down to some normalcy. Well, sort of. Phoenix Raceway's 1 mile long track isn't a short track, but it's not an intermediate either. What Phoenix is to drivers is a wild card that requires more skill than luck to win. And Phoenix is notorious for insanely tight restarts, so winning it all could come down to who has the best launch in the restart zone. And don't forget about that Rattlesnake Hill. And oh, did we mention we could go as big as 5 wide in turn 1 thanks to a dog leg turn? There's no lack of action this weekend in Phoenix.
Next week it starts to get a little bit more traditional, like here's where our speed is at as a company and as a race team. So we just try to run the best we can and try to make it through.
Once you get through probably the next 3 or 4 weeks, you're definitely going to have you better have a really good sense of where you're at, where your program's at, things like that. Phoenix, Vegas, those places, the short tracks we really struggled at last year, so you need to make a lot of improvements at those.
You just try to focus your efforts on places that you think you can go win. That's what we do. We try to do our best when we come to these racetracks.
Now, our producers love doing track trends for this track because it's full of dramatic endings. Both Cup races in 2025 had a last lap pass to take the checkered flag, and both victories won by less than 1/10 of a second. We've had 6 different winners in the 8 races here in the next-gen era, and with just 2 repeat winners, those being Joey Logano and Christopher Bell. Watch out for that 24 car, though. William Byron has finished top 10 in 21 straight stages at Phoenix, the most of anyone driving Sunday. In the O'Reilly Series, Phoenix belongs to JGR. Joe Gibbs Racing has more wins, poles, top 5s, laps led, and stage wins here than any other track compared to its competitors. And if you watch this show, you know we always have a rotation of experts to break down each race. Making his return today on Around the Track for the 2026 season, we've got NASCAR pit crew legend Rocco Williams. Rocco, how's everything going for you right now?
Great to be here. First one of 2026, so I really love talking NASCAR. I'm so glad we're back racing.
Yeah, we're finally gearing up for more of a normal race, as you say. So how does this race kind of fit into the schedule, and how good is it just to kind of get back to what they call normal racing?
Well, we have more races like this than any other. And then with the first one being Daytona, somewhat a super speedway, and Atlanta being a hybrid, the third one being a road course, this is what we're going to see on a more regular basis. And when you have that being said, you have to acquire points early. And with the new structure of the chase for the championship, it starts early. And some teams are starting off really, really strong. There's peaks and valleys to this season. So you really have to start off strong, and some teams are really doing that really, really, really well.
With this race track in general, what does it take to win there? Obviously, we've got the dog leg, the rattlesnake. What are those key moments where a race driver really has to just be locked into what they're doing?
A lot of penalties on pit road. A lot of penalties been called on the driver and on the crew. So you have to have a fast car unloading at this track. But the biggest thing is managing your pit road and making sure all your equipment comes in. Qualifying is going to be key on where you get positioned on pit road, and pit box number 1 or pit box number 6. Usually the team that has one of those boxes are the ones that does the best here.
Okay, well, we have to talk about the driver of the 45. Nobody can seem to stop Tyler Reddick so far, and he recently made history by winning the first 3 races of the season. What do you make of his phenomenal start so far?
I love the momentum in action. You're seeing it how it happens in real action. When you have a team that believes and they're confident in the human element of that, you see this happening. Not only was Tyler Reddick not supposed to win at Daytona, anybody could have won that. He was in the right place at the right time. He's bringing fast cars to the track. His teammate is second in points. So it's showing you that he's not lucking up into the situation. He's running top 5 like you must do to win these races. He's being put in position, and him and his team are capitalizing when they need to. So he's doing everything right, and it's real exciting to see that it's not just him. It's also Denny Hamlin and that whole team that's rallying behind this great driver.
And it was cool to see him holding up the 3 like MJ did. That was an awesome picture. All right, well, there will be no shortage of on-track action this weekend with the first NASCAR IndyCar doubleheader since 2023. Phoenix is known as a track with significant tire fall off, and both series use completely different tire compounds. Teams, they don't love that, so how will that impact the track, Rocco?
When they say laying rubber on the track, that's how it's going to impact it, because there's 2 different types of compounds that you have to acclimate to. Tire degradation is really, really big in NASCAR. IndyCar is a little bit different. So when you're laying that tire compound on track, how does it affect your race as compared to the other race? The crew chiefs and the engineers that get a handle of that the best, that's going to be the one that qualifies the best and puts their team in the best position to do well here at Phoenix. But it's something new that everyone has to manage, so whoever's best prepared, they're the ones that's going to shine.
Do you think those pit crews are having extra meetings this week just to prepare for that, or are they kind of just waiting until they get down there?
Each week that's necessary. You have to prepare for the racetracks, but absolutely they are. And logistically, just managing pit road and getting equipment to and around the racetrack, because the IndyCar has to get their stuff out the way for the NASCAR guys to get it out the way. When it all happens really fast, it's really beautiful logistically to see how these team and the sanctioning body does a really good job managing these 2 series.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, back to dominant drivers. While Tyler Reddick is a 3-peat to begin the season, Christopher Bell is going for a 3-peat of his own. A win for the 20 team this weekend would give them 3 in a row in the spring race at Phoenix. And we know Bell has one of the better pit crews in the series. How can they put this all together this weekend?
They are the favorite, you know, at this track in my mind for the pit crew, because they have dominated there and they show that consistency. That's one of the strengths of that 20 pit crew. A lot of these pit crews have different personalities. The 20 crew is known as one of the most consistent crews on pit road. So that's what you have there. You're going to eliminate some of those mistakes on pit road. If Christopher Bell can do the same, put it all together, why not go for 4 in a row for C-Bell? And that would be a big boost to that JGR team who's searching for a win as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're just getting started on Around the Track. Coming up, we sit down with the man who simply can't be stopped.
It's someone who's pretty hard on himself when he does make mistakes. Having your son kind of pick you back up and get you back into just being dad and not a race car driver in those moments was great.
From hardships to plenty of hardware, Tyler Reddick is having a dream season so far in 2026, doing something no other Cup driver has ever done. So, how is he enjoying the success? We ask him next in Garage Confidential. And surprise, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is coming back to race, but not in the O'Reilly Series or in a Cup car. Find out where you can catch the NASCAR Hall of Famer next. And Rocco, you've been known to be a wild card on the track yourself, but NASCAR's newest wild card is jumping into the deep end with his latest adventure. And no, we're not talking about Carson Hocevar. Cletus is back and in a big way. More on Around the Track when we return. Back here on Around the Track, some breaking news here on Around the Track. Driver of the 48, Alex Bowman, has been ruled out for Sunday's race in Phoenix after being diagnosed with vertigo. Driver Anthony Alfredo will fill in this weekend at Phoenix. He has 43 starts at the Cup level, and Hendrick Motorsports will request a medical waiver to allow Bowman to remain eligible for the 2026 NASCAR Series Cup Championships. And last week, he also had to do a driver swap due to illness. Well, you never say never when it comes to Dale Earnhardt Jr. The Hall of Famer is getting back behind the wheel in the Car Series this April at the Nashville Fairgrounds. Dale did a tire test there this week in preparation for the ride. Johnny Morris is on board sponsoring him with Bass Pro Shops, and of course, he'll be whipping the number 8 entry there. And we just can't wait to see Jr. back out there on the track. Well, from NASCAR's favorite son to the driver everybody is currently gunning for, 23XI's Tyler Reddick is off to a phenomenal start this season and showing no signs of slowing down as he enters race 4 of the season with a 70-point lead in the standings. Reddick took time to sit down with our Gabe McDonald this week in Garage Confidential.
So far this season, every race has one thing in common. That's you ending up in victory lane, pulling off something that nobody's ever done. I know there's still a long way to go. I know you ultimately want to be in Homestead racing for a championship, but just sum up these last few weeks and just how much fun you're having right now.
Yeah, it's been really crazy, honestly. We, to be able to start it off with I'd say a pillar career achievement and winning the Daytona 500 to, I'd never, in my NASCAR or my stock car racing career went back-to-back to victory lane. The fashion that we did that in, how dramatic that was. When we had that final restart there and I'm in the lead, and I kind of felt like we'd gotten Blaney to a point where, he'd kind of faded. And Shane breaks through into second. It's like, great. Well, now what? Now what do I do? And to just be able to hold them off and just execute that final run perfectly was a lot of work, but we got it done.
You mentioned the offseason. Take me back to those conversations. Everybody's seeing the classic movie Space Jam. It seems like y'all got a little bit of Michael's secret stuff, and it's been paying off so far. Just what were those conversations like, especially after a year that was tough for you personally and professionally? How did you guys really rally the troops in order to have this hot start that you guys are having?
Yeah, I think sometimes people think or expect, what's the aha moment? We got it, and nothing really jumps out at me, to be honest. I think it's just you go into the off season and you look at your body of work in 2025. It's like, all right, let's walk through these things. I think for us, it was just the details that we went through.
Having those moments in victory lane with your family, with Michael, do you feel like a kid again? Obviously, you're racing for obviously one of the most recognizable, iconic athletes of all time, and you're able to celebrate with him week after week with your family as well, knowing what you guys have gone through. How are you feeling in those moments? Do you feel like, just a kid on the playground and sometimes?
My son certainly does. Yeah. He's both of my kids, actually.
Yeah.
Rookie's a little too young to be like crawling around.
Doesn't
in victory
remember.
lane.
He won't remember.
Well, he might. You never know. He might remember some of it.
Yeah, some great pictures to look back on.
Yes, but Bo absolutely is going to remember all this stuff, and he just. It's been really fun to see his excitement throughout all of this. Like, last year, when I would come back to the bus after a tough day, he's sharing my emotions, my feelings about the day with me. I will say though, throughout those tough days, he did a good job of it's crazy that the kid is helping the dad kind of get through these things. But I'd walk in the door sometimes after the race, and he kind of knew to help pump me back up. And as someone who's pretty hard on himself when he does make mistakes, me as an individual, having your son kind of pick you back up and get you back into just being dad and not a race car driver in those moments was great. But absolutely, in victory lane, sharing those moments with him, with my wife, with Rookie, are a lot of fun.
Looking at the Phoenix, a place where, you've been able to have a couple top 5 finishes, led a lot of laps. It seems like, obviously, you guys know what y'all have. You've won 3 races in a row, but this is kind of we get into the more normal stretch of the schedule.
The bread and butter.
We had drafting tracks, we had a road course. What excites you the most about being able to get out there and potentially, add another trophy to the trophy case?
Yeah. I think for me, as we were getting this year rolling, it's important to kind of be ahead. In this 3-race stretch, we're 1 for 1 so far. The work that we had done really applied to the race weekend itself. The second test is coming up this Sunday. I feel like we've really understood where we kind of fell short in the fall and understood where our strengths were in the spring, and have a good plan and approach with our car, with how we're going to run the race to have a better day. It seems like everything is in a really good spot. We really believe in our process right now, and it's been delivering for us. We've been getting the results.
You guys are just getting started, man. Tyler Reddick, good luck this weekend. Thanks for the time.
Absolutely.
All right, appreciate it, Tyler. Still to come, some drivers climb the ranks quickly while others have to grind it out before getting a chance to shine. Up next, the story of one young driver who's willing to do whatever it takes to get behind the wheel. Back here on Around the Track, the wild card is coming to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. RCR has signed Cletus McFarland to drive the number 33 car in the O-Series race at Rockingham Speedway, and it'll be Cletus's grand national debut, and it's a quick rise for the star who's gained popularity. He just made his Truck Series debut in Daytona. His 2-year RCR deal will also have him drive on the super speedways in the 33. So Rocco, when you see all this go down. How do you feel like this has shaken up the garage area?
Well, you know, it's polarizing. You have guys that waited a long time to get opportunities like that, but at the same time, they're fast tracking this guy, so they must see something in him to make sure that, well, he has nowhere to hide. We're going to see right now if what everybody believes in him is going to come to fruition, or if that learning curve is a little bit too much to handle.
Yeah, well, he is entertaining for sure. And speaking of RCR, one of its most successful drivers is ready for double duty this weekend. Austin Hill will drive his 21 car on Saturday. He's a favorite in that one. Then on Sunday, he'll drive the 33 alongside teammates Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon. And it's not the first time he's driven both O'Reilly and Cup in the same weekend, but here in Phoenix, he feels like he's got a shot either day to end up in victory lane.
In a place like Phoenix where I've not had a ton of success there. I've ran inside the top 5 a few times, but if we go there and we unload with a really fast United Rentals Chevrolet, that we can have a shot at running inside the top 15, top 20 and have a great day there on the Cup side. And then obviously on the O'Reilly side, we're just going there to win.
Well, in sports, teams need that next man up mentality in case somebody goes down. And for Brad Perez, he's been that next man for most of his racing career. And Gabe McDonald has more on the young driver who will do whatever it takes to get behind the wheel.
We've all heard the saying, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. For Brad Perez, that might as well be his life's motto.
I have done just about everything to being a pseudo crew chief on a Cup car one time. That's probably a story for a book.
A book that is still being written by the 29-year-old who has done whatever it takes just to get a chance to live out a dream. As Perez gears up to make his first start of 2026 in Phoenix in the ARCA Series, that dream is met with a new set of hurdles, landing sponsors to secure a ride.
You're up against like multi-million-dollar organizations and advertising companies. It's tough, but whenever you do have those victories, and victories meaning like getting those brands together to support you, it means a lot to me, obviously, because I get to live my dream, but it also, I feel like it returns for them because you have somebody that is dedicated and really cares about whatever they're trying to promote.
One of those people being Bubba Wallace, a man Perez considers a mentor. The Cup Series driver took to social media to pledge $15,000 for Perez to race in the O'Reilly Series race at Martinsville. It's a solid fraction of the $35,000 that Perez says it takes to get a baseline ride in the series, and a gesture he's extremely grateful for.
He messaged me at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I woke up to that and I was like, yo, what? And his support means a lot to me. I mean, he's been somebody who I've always looked up to. I'm grateful for his support, and it's definitely opened a lot of other people's eyes to my story, and I'm grateful for that.
Perez is coming off quite the weekend at COTA, where he went from working on the 02 for Ryan Ellis to driving the 42 in relief for J.J. Yeley. As he aims to land rides for Charlotte, Darlington, and Kansas, he's always going to make sure to pay it forward.
I want to help educate. I want to help just as Bubba helped me, and I just know that if you were to support me, it's not something that I'm taking lightly, or it's something that it means a lot for my entire life.
All right, thanks again to Brad for the time. One last pit stop to take before we return. Does Seabell make it 3-peat in Phoenix, or does another driver reign supreme in the desert? Our victory lane looks are next. Viva Las Vegas! The West Coast swing continues next week, and to help us get ready for it all, we've got two big names ready to roll the dice. Driver of the iconic 43, Eric Jones, will be in Garage Confidential, while America's crew chief, Larry McReynolds, will be in studio breaking down both Cup and O'Reilly Series races. That's next week on Around the Track. Well, you've seen what the books think. Now it's time to share our 2 cents. Rocco, who are you going with this weekend in Phoenix, and why?
Well, I'm going with Tyler Reddick to go for the 4. You know, I've been a part of some multi-race victories, you know, with Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin. We've won multiple races. I know how special that is and how hard it is to obtain. And watching this team act as one. You know, HMS, when I was there, was really big about that. One team, one dream. You can really see that with the drivers around them being 1 and 2 in points. And just with the momentum, I want to see it continue going because it's something we don't see often.
I was about to say, this has never happened. This has never happened, what's going on in NASCAR. So the fact that it's new season, new format, and this could potentially be something that's never happened before, just how big is it for the sport?
I also think it's very big for the sport, first of all, but it's very big for Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, and Michael Jordan. People really focus on Jordan and what this team is doing, but Tyler Reddick was a phenomenal driver before he got to 2311, so much so Jordan bought their contract out while he was still with another team. People forget how much of a talent he is, so it's just so good to see that something clicked in his life or whatever happened, his energy. And I like to see good things happen to great drivers and great people.
Yeah,
So.
Denny Hamlin, I believe it was in Daytona, he was like, there's a reason why we coached Tyler Reddick. We saw his potential, and I think people forget that, right?
Absolutely. They forget that, but they're learning really, really quick on the reason why. And this track is really going to be big on tire degradation, so he showed you at the road course, you know, he can handle that really well. And with this tire compound going on and the doubleheader, you know, they're poised as a team, and just having that confidence, I'm just going to pull for the one that is riding the highest right now, and that's that whole team, that's that whole driver, and it seems like their pit crew is really shining as well, and this is a very mistake-free, dependent race.
Yeah, well, the pit crew obviously makes a huge factor in all of these races. As you know, Rocco, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your insight, obviously, here on Around the Track. Everything that we just talked about, well, you're going to see it this weekend in Phoenix. Make sure you catch that O'Reilly Series race on Saturday and then the Cup Series race on Sunday. Remember, Rocco, he says that Tyler Reddick's going to win that one, so we're going to see if he's right. Thanks for tuning in to Around the Track, you guys. We'll see you next week in Vegas.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.